This is our only chance to be alone. Honey, you can be his forever, but you gotta be mine tonight. Just love me down. Boy, if I was that other person's significant other overhearing this dude talking about you can be his forever, but you gotta be mine tonight, we gotta square up. We absolutely have to square up. We gotta put the hands up. I mean, it's got to be, let's go. What do you like? Because what are you doing? What are you saying? You're right on time for another ride on the Groove Line with your host, Chris Stevens. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. We've reached the end of the week. Isn't it lovely? Well, I got to work this weekend, but hopefully you all are going to find a way to enjoy the fall weather, wherever it may be. Maybe you guys are still in middle summer where it's like 75, 80 degrees outside, or whether you're like me where you had to wear a hoodie, to run your errands today. But tonight actually, because this is actually going up as I'm recording it. So this is Thursday night. And because it is Thursday, October 2nd, we are celebrating the birthday of one of the best Quiet Storm artists and R&B singers of his generation. Happy 69th birthday to Mr. Frederick Anthony Freddie Jackson out of Harlem, New York. And tonight we are going to count down the top 10 Freddie Jackson joints. And this is a list that, of course, is selected by me. So results and opinions may vary. Like whatever your favorite Freddie Jackson joint is, if you felt like one's too high, felt like one's too low, leave it in the comments. Shouts out to WSSU Ram Nation. They chimed in on the Patrice Rushen countdown and was not very happy that Remind Me was number 8. And I love Remind Me. It's a great Patrice Rushen song, but just as far as like the scope of her catalog, I feel like there were songs that people should listen to. I mean, because everybody knows Remind Me already. Everybody knows that one, but there are a few others in that countdown that I felt like people should have a second listen to. But WSSU Ram Nation felt differently, and they left a comment. So you can follow in their lead. If this Freddie Jackson countdown is not to your liking, let me know what you think. So let's get started. Number 10, we're going to go to Do Me Again, which is the title track from his 1990 album. That was the last Freddie Jackson album to have that official run of success where he was just near or at the top of the charts every year from 1985 to 1991. This was the second single off of the album, believe it or not, because the first single we'll talk about a little later on in the countdown. But Do Me Again is just one of those, if you listen to the rhythm, it sounds like, a little bit of a Caribbean rhythm, because there was a point in time in the late 80s, early 90s, and even throughout the middle part of the 90s where some R&B acts were trying to, find that little sway, that little, whine, if you will. And Do Me Again is no different. And it's a Freddie Jackson song about, trying to, circle the block. I mean, that's going to be a common theme in a few of these Freddie Jackson joints that we're talking about. But yeah, Do Me Again is number 10 on our countdown. Number 9 from 1986 is Just Like the First Time, I Don't Want to Lose Your Love. This one is kind of slept on because it didn't have the singles run that a few other songs on this album did have. And what makes I Don't Want to Lose Your Love so fun is, for me, it's a favorite Freddie Jackson joint because it was co-written by two criminally underrated songwriters, Gene McFadden and John Whitehead. Of course, you may know those gentlemen from the one of the many Black national anthems, Ain't No Stopping Us Now. And of course, McFadden and Whitehead were tremendous songwriters and producers for Philly International, who probably should have got the keys to the kingdom a lot quicker. They just probably should have had full input from the beginning of Philly International, since they wrote Backstabbers, which was the biggest hit the label had at that point. But, Gene and John, they did their own thing. I mean, in fact, they did some really good writing in the 80s, along with Victor Carr-Starfin Sr., the late Victor Carr-Starfin Sr. His son is the mayor of Camden, New Jersey. Shout out to Vic Carr-Starfin Jr., who has cut down on murders in Camden by discontinuing the police force. Just saying. But yeah, G. McFadden and John Whitehead wrote I Don't Want to Lose Your Love for Freddie. And it was on Quiet Storm on Philly radio from the time I was a pup till about the time, people stopped listening to the Quiet Storm. Whew. Oh man, I may have an announcement about the Quiet Storm that's kind of related to this podcast, but I'll let you guys know when that happens. Okay, so number 9 was I Don't Want to Lose Your Love. Number 8, we get to move up tempo a little bit. Nice and Slow from 1988's Don't Let Love Slip Away. And 1988 was a great year for music. Like, I was 6 going on 7. I turned 7 that September. So this was one of those first years that I really started to like kind of like connect with music. If you talk about a song from 1988, I'm probably gonna know it. There's New Edition, Any Heartbreak. There's Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel. There's EPMD, my first favorite rap group, with Strictly Business and all this other stuff. So, I mean, Freddie, for him to find a lane with, get on the dance floor with Nice and Slow, because that absolutely is a mid-tempo groove. Like, it's just literally just like, and it felt like love was on the run. And it's a great song about, because we were friends before we were lovers. It's always so interesting to listen to romantic music from 1988 with a 2025 mindset, when it comes to dating and romance and different things of that nature. And just listening to how Freddie lays out this whole scenario, like, we were friends, we talked first before we started dancing in the night, and now our love can take flight. And that sax at the break when he says that, now our love take, and the sax, like, it is a great song to get you in the mood for a two-step or two here and there. So yeah, Nice and Slow is number 8. Number 7, we go to his first album, which is 40 years old now. 40 years old, jeez. 1985's Rock Me Tonight, and number 7, Love Is Just a Touch Away. Got a feeling something here is about to change. Love is just a touch away. That is one of my favorite keyboard parts of the 80s. I mean, because there's this nice little synth, and the little sparkly keys. Like, whoever was doing the keys on Love Is Just a Touch Away, synth, bass, keyboard, I don't know if that's a Fender, I don't know if that's a Yamaha DX7, which was popular at the time, but whoever's fingers was on them keyboards was blessed when they were doing Love Is Just a Touch Away. Just one of the best Quiet Storm songs in the middle of the 80s. And Freddie, this was his shot, because people forget that Freddie Jackson had been on the grind for a while. He was in a group called Mystic Merlin in the late 70s, early 80s. He ended up doing backing vocals for a lot of folks. He is on the backgrounds of one of my favorite CashApp productions, Living for Your Love by Melba Moore from 83, 84. So Freddie had been around for a while on the R&B circuit. And then when he finally got on with Hush Management and they took a chance on him to do a solo album, he didn't miss a shot. And Rock Me Tonight just sent him off into the stratosphere. And Love Is Just a Touch Away is just one of those songs that you can't deny is a hit. Number 6. God, I wanted to put this one in the top 5. I fought myself to keep this out of the top 5. But yeah, this is another one from Just Like the First Time, Tasty Love. And it's one of those beats that just feels like either a late night in the summer or a Saturday morning after a great Friday night. And that, to me, is just one of those songs that is the definitive Freddie Jackson, Tasty Love. You can just literally hear yourself on a summer night just vibe and chilling, because I mean, I do it all the time. It's on my summer walking playlist. I mean, whenever I hear that, people hate to hear me coming because I be singing. And as you guys know by now, by listening to this channel, I can't sing, but I be a darling. When it's right, it's all right. Darling, keep it there, right there. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, you get the picture. That be me in the summer times at night, walking around my city with my earphones on, just vibing to Tasty Love by Freddie Jackson. Wonderful, wonderful song. And just, like I said, it's one of those definitive Freddie Jackson joints. However, it doesn't make the top 5 because, well, there's this. Number 5 is Love Me Down. And boy, Love Me Down is one of the dirtiest, low down, one night stand, dirty Mac, cheating ass songs of all time. But it's so classy. It's so classy. Like, it is, if you could make ain't shitness palatable, that's what Freddie Jackson does on Love Me Down. I don't care if you got somebody else at home. Here's the part. I don't care who might say that it ain't right. This is our only chance to be alone. Honey, you can be his forever, but you gotta be mine tonight. Just love me down. Boy, if I was that other person's significant other overhearing this dude talking about you can be his forever, but you gotta be mine tonight, we gotta square up. We absolutely have to square up. We gotta put the hands up. I mean, it's got to be, let's go. What do you like? Because what are you doing? What are you saying? You can be his forever, but you got to be mine tonight. That is bold. That is bold. And that was, not surprisingly, in 1991, a number one hit on the R&B charts. Like, people always are kind of aghast when they mention how these kids' music, the music these kids make and listen to today is so sexual. But we got a song from the beginning of the 90s talking about you could be his forever, but you got to be mine tonight. When he ain't talking about it, he ain't talking about a pet. You know, he's talking about a human being. He's talking about, yeah, I mean, I know you got somebody. I don't care if it ain't right, but you gotta let me down tonight. Hey, love songs there's always been a quotient of scandal to love music, and Love Me Down fits that bill rather easily. Number 4. Dun, 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 dun. Bro, is this my favorite Freddie Jackson song? I think it is. I think Jam Tonight is my favorite Freddie Jackson song. Just like the first time, has some grooves. And Jam Tonight is just one of those records that just, if you're when I mentioned the 80s and I mentioned being of a certain age, like if you were one of those people that was fortunate enough to be old enough to go to parties, old enough to go out on dates, old enough to hit the club scene back then, and classy club scenes, like I don't know if you were going to hear Freddie Jackson in the after hours bar or on the rooftop, in Harlem somewhere, but Jam Tonight just is perfect. Tell me why you came here. Was it just to sit and stare? Just, he's laying the game down. Like, did you come here to just look at everybody, or are you going to come on this dance floor and jam with me? That's what I need to know, because I want to jam with you. I wanna jam with you. I wanna have the last dance with you. Just, you can't deny Freddie Jackson's greatness. And Jam Tonight is another one of those quintessential Freddie Jackson songs that just does not miss. Now, number 3, some people might take exception with this being so high, but it's probably, if it's not his most beautiful love song, it's definitely one of the most emotionally captivating. Have you ever loved somebody? Once again, on just like the first time is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's a song that just is a dude that's talking about, you keep running away. I know you can't run forever. It's like he's saying that I know you've been hurt before. That's some of the best R&B to me, is when a man is saying, yeah, I know these dudes out here ain't worth a damn, but you got to give me a shot. I'll prove to you that there are good ones left, and I'm one of those good ones. And there's the bridge part where he's like, when you think that it's safe, girl, just take a look around. I will be there behind you. There's nothing to fear, no, because I can never hurt you. I think the world about you. Won't you learn to love me too? Like, he is pleading by this point. He is begging. Like, when women say, bring back yearning, bring back begging, Freddie is begging on that bridge. Can you learn to love me too? Like, just straight up begging. And it's another great Freddie Jackson song. Like, when women of certain ages are like, yeah, you girls are missing out because dudes literally used to beg back then. Like, there's probably a conversation that needs to be had about why the music has changed and how, this little tete-a-tete with the battle of the sexes right now in this generation in the 2000s is going. I may save that for my After Hours podcast. If you guys are so interested, that is on my Patreon. I will put a link to that in the description below. You can sign up for my Patreon, by the way. It's only $1 a month. It's a good dollar, by the way, just my opinion. But yeah, back then, dudes really used to be like pleading, like, can you learn to love me too? You know, that is a man who is willing to, just be vulnerable and put his pride aside and say, yes, I am begging for a moment, a sliver, a crumb, a droplet of your time, ma'am. I just want you to learn to love because I already love you. Whew, yearning. It's a wonderful thing, ain't it? Speaking of, now I got myself together and I know just what I want. And right now, I know that it's you. You rock me tonight for old time's sake. Rock Me Tonight for old time's sake. The song that introduced Freddie Jackson to the world in the fall of 1985. And summer of 85. And I wonder what that was like for Freddie. Because like I said earlier, he had just been, on the getting it out of the mud for years, in a forgotten funk band, becoming a background vocalist. And then by the middle of the decade, you are one of the biggest R&B acts out there, like lightning in a bottle. And it's a song, again, about circling the block. Like, it's been so long since we parted. I have missed you. And, Fire and Desire, burns the whole night through. Just for old time's sake, rock me tonight. Roll with me tonight for old time's sake. Just a great record, man. It's one of those, you can't tell the story of black music in the 80s without this song. You can't tell the story of Quiet Storm, period, in any generation without Rock Me Tonight for old time's sake. It's just one of those songs that if you are worth your salt as a music critic, and I'm still working on getting to my salt being worth it. You guys may think I know what I'm talking about, but I'm still learning. I've been a sports writer for 23 going on 24 years, trying to get serious about my music passion. It's taking some time, but you guys have been with me the whole way and I appreciate y'all. So I don't claim to know everything, but I do think that if you're going to be on somebody's panel, somebody's podcast, and they ask you about the Quiet Storm, you got to conclude this in there. Because Rock Me Tonight is just one of those 80s moments. But there's another song from that album that is the 80s moment. And it's number one on this Freddie Jackson countdown tonight. You Are My Lady. Like, this is like Rock Me Tonight introduced Freddie to the world, but You Are My Lady made him a superstar. Like, that was a song that white people loved. And when white people love black men singing about love, you got yourself a hit. Hey, buddy, that Freddie Jackson, huh? I'm going to go sing this to Beth tonight. You are my lady. You're everything I need and more. Yeah. Like, Freddie just had everybody going. I think the best usage of that song, honestly, is him on Family Matters when Stefan Urkel is wooing Laura Winslow. And, Stefan is pulling out all the stops, and that includes the Freddie Jackson. And Freddie was still a star by the time Stefan Urkel came up. Those records he put out in the early 90s, those were not bad R&B records. Freddie Jackson put out some good music into the 90s, but it just missed the mark because, tastes were changing. You had New Jack Swing. You had a sort of a less defined image of romance, when hip hop and R&B started merging. And that's when people like Freddie, like Alexander O'Neal, to a lesser extent, Luther, even Whitney. People who were big in the 80s and the 70s, they sort of lost track of things because the way the music and the culture changed. And Freddie was no exception to that. But, people still loved Freddie Jackson, even though people weren't buying the records like they were for that first run. But yeah, he was absolutely getting the standing ovation cheer for singing You Are My Lady as Stefan and Laura are dancing. So yeah, You Are My Lady. It's one of the songs that is a wedding song. Like, honestly, this is going to be a hot take. And I think when you look at the totality of Freddie Jackson's catalog, I think people overvalue "You Are My Lady." I mean, it's a wonderful song. I mean, I did not just say that yearning is missing in R&B and music, and that a man saying "You are my" and affirming her and saying "You are my lady," that's wonderful. But the radio played that song too much. I'm sorry. I mean, I live in the Philadelphia area, so I either can listen to WDAS, which was the station I grew up listening to, or Classics 107.9. That's the Radio 1 station. And WDAS is iHeartRadio. So at any point during the week, I can switch from either one of those stations and hear "There's something that I like to say, but words sometimes get in the way." It's like, damn, how many times y'all gonna play this song today? But I guess that's the point of a legend song. People still want to hear it 40 years later. And make no mistake about it, "You Are My Lady" is still very popular. And that is why it is the top Freddie Jackson song here on this here Freddie Jackson Countdown. So let me know what you guys think. Do you approve? Is one song too high? Is one song too low? Is there a Freddie Jackson song missing? Please let me know in the comments. And thank you guys for riding with me on this edition of On the Groove Line. Greatly appreciate y'all as always. Contact information will be in the description below. Like I said, I'm going to link you guys to my After Hours podcast. It's called The Overnight Scenario. It's where I talk about dating, sex, and romance. Like I just did a brief little spiel here on this particular show. It's $1 a month to subscribe to my Patreon. It's not just a podcast over there. I have writing stuff and more. So, if you want to support your boy, you're more than welcome to do so that way. So thank you guys for riding with me. And until the next time we ride, y'all have a great weekend, and may you find the groove, or may the groove find you.